Hello and welcome to this week's television review where I'll be discussing HBO Max's The Penguin. And in this video I'll be giving my overall thoughts on the season, as well as my overall thoughts on characters such as Sophia, Oswald, and of course, my boy Victor. I do want to let you guys know this will be a spoiler-filled video, so if you haven't watched The Penguin, I highly recommend that you do. It was really, really good, especially if you enjoyed Matt Reeves' Batman. I definitely recommend watching this. It was a really, really good show, but if you could avoid spoilers at all costs, please click off the video now. Oswald, you son of a bitch. Dude, right before that scene happened, I actually thought to myself, wow, like I can't wait till we see the Batman 2 and we get to see Victor there with Oswald and they're kind of like doing missions, or as soon as Victor pops up, it's going to be one of those like DiCaprio meme where he snaps and points at the screen and says, oh my God, it's Victor. Totally is not going to happen. He totally died. The Penguin totally choked the life out of him. And the look Colin Farrell had on his face, I feel like that's the most he's looked like Colin Farrell throughout the whole show, because the makeup is like has been incredible. But the look he had on his face when he's choking him out and trying to justify it in his head that like love makes you weak, he can't have any loose strings, blah blah blah. And the look is just insane, man. He looks completely out of it. He's staring off and it was super, super intense. I did not see that coming at all, to be honest with you. It's almost like, and I know this is a different comic book, I don't know how to say the universe or whatever, but, you know, you look at it like a guy like Miles Morales, and that's what kind of Victor reminded me of, like a Miles Morales. He's in New York, he's doing his thing, he's moving around, he's a young kid. And you have Miles who goes on this, like, awesome path, and, you know, just take, like, Spider-Verse, for example, where he goes on this crazy adventure, he meets Spider-Man, he gets powers, and, you know, things are going good. And then you have Victor, who is, like, a stuttering guy who, like, at first I'm like, why is he, like, what's going on with this guy? Well, why is he, I didn't know he was going to be involved like that. I thought it was going to be focused on Colin Farrell's Penguin character at first. But then he ends up coming in clutch a couple of times, and you see kind of the backstory of him and his family, and it becomes like a really, really endearing story, you know, him to the point where like whenever it's his time to like potentially go off with his friend, part of you is like, yeah, you should get out of here, like by any means leave Oswald, because this could only end badly, and Jesus Christ, did it ever. I don't know what to expect when the show started. Kind of rewinding a little bit, I enjoyed the Batman quite a bit. Matt Reeves, I mean, has been on a roll from the Planet trilogy, from the Planet of the Apes trilogy that he had, to the Batman recently. He's been knocking it out of the park, and Colin Farrell's Penguin definitely stood out in that movie. One, for the makeup, just because he was completely unrecognizable. And two, because the transformation that Colin does, and Colin Farrell's an incredible actor. If you have never seen The Killing of a Sacred Deer, I highly recommend that. That's one of my favorite movies, as well as I think The Lobster. He did really, really well in that one. He's been around forever, bro. He was in Phone Booth, which was like an awesome movie I used to watch like all the time back in the day. But just focusing in on him for a little bit and his performance as Oswald Cobblepot, I've seen a lot of comparisons to James Gandolfini's performance as Tony Soprano, and I could definitely see that a bit in terms of like, really, people talk more, I think, visually when it comes to comparing Tony and comparing the Penguin to each other. For me, it was more like little mannerisms, as well as little comments he makes after, you know what I'm saying? And which would always happen with Tony Soprano. He'd always like get into a situation that was not going his way, and he'd kind of always have a comment, whether it be poking fun out of it or like lighting up the mood, or just like himself, whether it be the classic Jesus Christ, or take it easy, like stuff like that, just always sprinkled out throughout the whole show and the whole series of The Sopranos. I felt like Colin Farrell brought that when it came to the Penguin, especially when it came to the scene of him battling against Sal Maroni, aka Mr. Krabs. The Penguin killed Mr. Krabs, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, Clancy Brown did an awesome job as Sal, but he's always gonna be Mr. Krabs to me. That scene there where they're kind of fighting each other and Sal falls over and appears to have like a stroke or a heart attack. He's kind of clinching and just falls back. And the Penguin is not satisfied at all, so he proceeds to like let off some shots in him. and just yell over his dead body, tell him that I beat you. I want you to know that I beat you. He takes the ring, very much making it a point to himself that I am the top of this shit. I own this. I've took over what you try to do. You try to take me out, and I took you out. And I feel like that's an overall theme in this series, is that the Penguin wants it's funny because I've been into pro wrestling recently. He wants to be acknowledged. The Penguin wants acknowledgement, whether it be the lack that he gets from his mom, whether it be the lack of acknowledgement that he gets from, whether it be from rival gangs such as the Triads or the Irish or stuff like that. They kind of look at him all as like this conniving kind of hustler guy, which he is. I mean, in all honesty, like, I love that he tries to say that he's not, but he really is. You know what I'm saying? He definitely is a hustler. And like, I think he knows at his heart that he thrives at these kind of situations. So I actually binged the show over the weekend. I had seen episode 1 like 2 weeks back. Then I knew the finale was Sunday, so I binged all the episodes Saturday and Sunday. And I was actually listening to some reviews today, and shout out to Frames Per Second podcast, which is an association of Dead End Hip Hop, who I've been listening to and watching for years. But one of them said, I can't remember if it was Nick or Mike, but they were saying how the Penguin has terrible plan A's, that his plan A's go horrible, but he has a mean plan B. And I mean, he definitely does. He's able to like twist words around and reform things. I mean, you see that in the first episode, how he's able to like turn that situation of him killing Alberto. Shout out to the actor who played Alberto in the series, because I recognized him from Boardwalk Empire, and that's another show you should definitely check out if you're into this one. But the way he's able to manipulate that situation by taking the ring, he keeps the ring, he gives it to Sal. Sal starts wearing the ring. Now they think Sal did it. Like, the whole thing is, it's just one of those things where it's like a calamity after calamity each episode. Moving on from Colin Farrell's performance as the Penguin, I do want to discuss the other, I think, main character of the show, which is Sophia, played by the gorgeous Kristen Milioti, who brought so much to this character. This character who I didn't even know was going to be a part of the show. I thought it was, like I said, I legit thought it was going to be about Oswald maybe running the club, Oswald moving around, but Sophia Falcone, or Sophia Gigante as I should call her, was incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. And she had such a presence in every scene she was in. She had such a weight to her in every scene that she was in. And you know, at first you're kind of led to believe that she was the hangman, as they called her, the person that murdered all these girls. But it isn't until her solo episode that you kind of look back at the other previous episodes and think, oh, these guys they're afraid of her because of what they know. They know that she didn't kill these people. You know what I mean? They're more afraid of her, like, vengeance than, like, her actually being, like, a dangerous person, which she ends up being a very dangerous person. But I'm saying, like, looking back at those episodes where, like, Oswald is like, Sophia, and everyone's kind of like, oh, shit, she's back. Which, you know, looking back on it, even though I just binged the show, I feel like a dumbass, but I don't remember how they explained that she just got out. I really don't remember why she got out or what reason that was for. I really can't remember that at all, to be honest with you. But she's out, and looking back on it, it's just like, damn, you guys, like, no wonder her family like dislikes her. Her family looks at her like crazy because they know what they did. They messed her over. You know what I'm saying? They totally wrote these letters to like keep her in jail, which is like horrible. Now that she's out and about, they almost have this kind of guilt, but at the same time, they almost have this kind of apprehensiveness towards her, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't know where her head's at. Because I'm sure they heard like how she became in Arkham, which I gotta say, between this and Joker Folie à Deux, Arkham Asylum seems like the worst place to ever be on Earth, to be completely honest with you. I mean, this is like Guantanamo Bay level of harassment and abuse. Is just a lot. I thought her relationship with Julian was kind of interesting, who is Theo Rossi, or Juice from Sons of Anarchy. And I gotta say, man, between his fate and Sons of Anarchy and this, I think he kind of broke even a little bit, because he plays this doctor towards her, but they also have this kind of romantic relationship. It seems kind of almost like a mistress type thing. I don't know what that was, but I was really, really envious of old Theo Rossi there. Anyway, I did want to talk about Oswald's mom before I get into my boy Vic. Oswald's mom, who, let me look up the actress who played her actually, who was played by Deirdre O'Connell. Incredible in terms of playing someone who has dementia. She definitely played that role super well. Also this kind of like, I don't want to say Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because that's totally wrong, but like the way she was able to like switch mid scene and kind of get her bearings and be like, oh, I know who you are, when it came to like talking to someone like Victor, or kind of like trying to convince herself as well as her son that like I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. And as an audience member, you're kind of questioning like, is she playing this up just so she could see her son? Is she like doing this on purpose just so she could kind of like visit her son or this and that, or you know what I mean, get attention from him maybe. But it is until the end where you're kind of realizing that like, no, her mind is like out of there, man. I mean, especially when it comes to her doing the whole thing with Julian, he's doing the whatever the light therapy that was, and she's kind of visualizing her, talking to a young Oswald Cobb, and that whole situation with him and his brother, which was wild. And her like just having this hatred and like bitterness towards him the whole time that she kind of had to like bury. And she's also out of her mind. I mean, putting that whole pressure on a kid is kind of wild to me. Saying that like, you need to get me out of here, you need to take us out the hood, or Crown Point, was just so like, what, like, get a job, you know what I'm saying, go find a better job or some shit. I don't know, like, she just seemed out of it as well. But granted, I mean, she just lost two of her kids, so can I really like blame her for being kind of that, out of it mentally? Which could not have helped her mental health state. It could not have helped her dementia either. I thought it was heartbreaking the way she was kind of always talking about like, she was going over and over in her head, like talking to the police when it came to like, oh yeah, Jack's coming, or I already told you what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, ugh, like that's immediately where her mind reverts to, because it's a traumatic event. Last but not least, I do want to talk about my boy Vic. I mean, the MVP of the show, who I had no idea was going to be the MVP. Damn, Oswald, what's wrong with you, boy? Jesus Christ. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who came in clutch. I mean, granted, he was messing up. He dropped Bliss, the drug that they had in the club, and I was like, man, he fucking up. And then he kept stuttering constantly, which I don't know what that was, to be honest with you. I don't know why they gave him a nervous stutter, because I don't think the actor has a stutter. My friend Eric told me that he didn't have a stutter. So I really don't know what that choice was. I don't know if it was like an ailment to kind of like have Oz have some kind of sympathy towards him, but by the end of it, it's like he had no sympathy towards him at all. He robs him and throws his ID in the river, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what that choice was, direction wise. I don't know why they did that, but I thought it I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on it. I felt like it could have worked either way, to be honest with you. But Victor, man, I mean, just a troubled kid. You know what I'm saying? The inevitable. I saw an interview with Matt Reeves, or a quote from him, who was just like, he was just wrong kid at the, I would say wrong place, wrong time, when it came to him, that this was going to be inevitable, that he just got swallowed up by the city killed him. I mean, really, Oswald Cobb killed him, but the city did not help. Dude, and the loyalty he showed to Oswald, like throughout the whole show, coming back when he didn't need to come back, coming in clutch when he needed to come in clutch, saving him multiple times. Also, like, whenever the explosion happens, he's kind of he's trying to rally the rival gangs, or the gangs that were working with Oswald, and kind of being like, yo, come on, like, this fucked up, like, you guys, like, come on, we gotta help him out, and they're all like, nah, dude, like, this is all transactional, like, we don't care about him, like, we gotta move on, like, if anything, we gotta like figure out what we're gonna do next, because we had all our chips on the Penguin. And seeing his kind of like disappointment, him trying to like hype them up real quick, was interesting. And the fact that like, you think it makes it seem that he actually got caught up whenever I forgot the other guy's name, but the younger guy in the triads calls him, is like, yo, you still with Oz? Because they were like, Sophia puts a hit out on him, and like, whoever brings me him gets like my mansion and shit, which he burns to the ground, which I thought was hilarious. And yeah, that happens. And then when he calls him, you're kind of like, oh no, like, please, like, don't fuck up this time. Like, by this point, you're kind of like, all right, Vic knows what he's doing for the most part. You know what I'm saying? He killed somebody already. You know what I mean? Shot Squid, which I thought was hilarious. All these animal names. So at this point, I'm kind of like, Jesus, don't fall for it, please. But it turns out, to his benefit, where like, they have the meeting with Sophia, and then the triads turn on, or the younger triad guy kills the old triad guy. And there's kind of a passing of like old guard versus new guard, which reminds me of like the finale of season 1 of Boardwalk Empire, which again, I highly recommend it because it's really, really good. So by that point, you're like, damn, like Vic came through again. He totally helped out, like, I think his name is Link. I think the other guy's name is Link. It just came to me, but he's totally helping out Oz. And even Oz is like, damn, I didn't see that Link thing at first, but it was smart. It was a smart move. And you're kind of like, wow, like, what kind of hijinks are these guys going to get into? Jesus Christ. Turn this off. And lo and behold, that scene where he's just like, I can't bring you in this time and blah, blah, blah. And he starts just grabbing him. And you're like, bro. The whole time I'm like, yo, fight back. Like, scrape his eyes, do something. But I think there's part of Victor that, at least coming from me, I don't want to put any, thing on the character at all. But just my, interpretation of the scene, I feel like part of Victor, because you've seen this before. Oswald kicked him in the grave and was like, lay down next to the bodies. You fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, real aggressive towards him. And even their first encounter, he thought he was going to kill him, after the whole day at the end of the first episode. But he spares him. So he spares him once. He spares him twice. And I think part of Victor probably thought, like, he's fucking with me. This is what he does. And was confused, and this and that, which is even more heartbreaking. And he just went with it this time. And like I said earlier, the look on Colin Farrell's face was like, dude, what the fuck is he got going on? You know what I mean? Now, real quick, that was really sad, and it sucks that he did that. But I do want to mention this. So between, I think, episode 6 or 7, Oswald's girl in the show, Eve, something kept sticking out to me, and I don't know if this was on purpose, but I kept looking at her and I was like, damn, dude, she kind of looks like his mom a little bit. Completely didn't read into the whole like Oedipus complex and stuff like that. Shout out to Baby Boy. But I was kind of like, damn, like she, like in the face, the actresses looked like each other. So I called my boy Eric. I'm like, yo, or I sent him a text and I'm like, yo, she kind of looks like his mom. He calls me, he's like, yo, that's intentional, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? And then episode 8 happens where like at the end of it, Oswald's mom is totally like comatose. In the new, after he kills Victor, they're in the new spot. And he's dancing with Eve, who totally gave him up, by the way. He's dancing with Eve, and like, she's totally wearing his mom's dress. Her hair is like low-key styled like his mom was in the flashback. And they're dancing, and he's totally like, tell me you respect me. Tell me you love me. And like, that's the only way he's gonna get it, bro. You're not getting it from your mom. And it's just wild. Like, Jesus Christ, the psychology of a character like the Penguin is like wild. Which, before I get out of here, I do want to mention, like, what do you guys think about like a potential season 2? Because I know he's going to be in the Batman sequel, which is going to be awesome. But I don't know, man. Like, I'd watch a season 2 because this one was incredible. But I don't know how, like, I don't know, man. Like, the way it ends is kind of like, dude, I don't know if I want to watch this evil guy for a whole nother season, like, terrorize something, unless there's another counterbalance. We had kind of like we had like Sophia and Oswald, which were both kind of bad people, but you kind of saw like the bits and pieces of like, what made them that way. With Oswald, he's kind of like a psychopath, to be completely honest with you. So, but yeah, what do you guys think about a season 2? Obviously, I would want to know where it'd go. You know what I'm saying? Where did it go? Would it be him like in like the Iceberg, which is like a club I think he has in the comics or the animated show? And kind of running things there, and we're kind of seeing it like, is this some like power shit? Which I do want to mention that I think this show did with like shows like Power, or shows like even Power Force, the one with Tommy. I think like those criminal shows are decent, but I think the best one would be The Wire. But damn, this one came this was really, really good. You know what I'm saying? For a comic book show, to kind of tackle and show the underbelly of the criminal underworld was just like, wow. Really, really on point. But yeah, man, as far as the season 2, I mean, I'd be down to watch it. Especially if it's the same creative, the people behind it, writing-wise and producing-wise, because they did, like, they knocked it out of the park. This show is, like, completely, like, 9 out of 10. But I do wonder, like, man, what would it be? Like, what would it entail? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Batman? I doubt we're going to be seeing Batman in season 2. We barely saw the bat signal at the end of season 1, So I feel like there would be like a counterbalance. I saw some people saying maybe is it Black Skull or Black Mask? I want to look that up before I fuck it up. I saw some people saying Black Mask could be a potential kind of counterbalance, that him and Oz might be going back and forth in the city. Which I could see that, but again, another bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, how would that kind of? I don't know. I'd definitely be interested. I'd definitely watch for sure, 100%. But I feel like this is such a perfect entry into the Batman season 2, or sorry, Batman 2, that I feel like that should be next. I feel like it should be the Penguin, Batman, Batman 2, I mean, and then a potential Penguin sequel or potential season 2 of the Penguin. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the review, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comments, do all the usual business. And let me know what you think. What did you think about the show? I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. The performances were crazy. As far as negatives on the show, I mean, some of the accents I think kind of went in and out a little bit. And also the limp. Oh my God, dude. Let me talk about that before I get out of here. Oswald's limp. I mean, he's leaning, bro. He's leaning like crazy. He's like, it's like, damn. It's weird because like, I don't know, man. I don't think he's playing it up to it because it looks like a real ailment that he has. But man, when he's moving, he's moving. He picks his mom up. He throws her over the shoulder. He's moving around. Like, I don't know. It's interesting to me, but I mean, as far as negatives, you know, it's funny. The Sophia episode where she's kind of in Arkham, I wouldn't say that's my least favorite episode because I did enjoy it, but I don't know, man. I feel like maybe we stuck there a little too long to the point where I was like, all right, we need to see more of like the core story. I don't know. Maybe I got impatient because I was binging it or whatever, but I mean, even then, I still enjoyed the episode. I still enjoyed seeing the backstory. I still enjoyed seeing how her family like turned on her and stuff like that, and kind of seeing more of the relationship between her and her brother, who was like the only one caring for her and the only one showing sympathy towards her, which is, you know, it kind of explains why she felt so much sadness and shit like that, and so much like vengeance whenever she finds out that he passed away, and especially when she sees his dead body. I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this television review. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. Until next time, peace.